you for joining our webinar on enterprise mobility this morning. My name is Gino Padua. I'm the Chief Client Advocate for Apps Freedom, and I'll be your presenter today. Also joining me in the presentation is Koppel Baumberger, Client Service Manager at Apps Freedom. In the next 30 to 40 minutes, our plan is to overview a few key market dynamics, introduce a very unique approach and solution to enabling mobility across the enterprise. Before we get started, I'd like to just cover a few meeting logistics. One is to maximize the screen for viewing. There's a small screen box in the corner of your display. If you hover over that box and click it, it should maximize your screen for you. Second, please post any questions that you may have in the question pane under the video player. And then finally, if you have any technical issues, please reach us at afwebinar@gmail.com via Google Chat. Let's go ahead and move forward. The facts are quite simple. Enterprise mobility continues to be on the forefront for many organizations, locally and globally, and promises new opportunities for continued growth. New business models are being created and others disrupted. Frankly, there's too much upside and too high of a risk of not taking action. While it's likely most of you joining on the call have used some form of mobile apps, it's probably worth the exercise just to explore a few enterprise mobile apps. While still in its early market stages, early adopters for mobility have already started taking advantage of its many possibilities. Enterprises have realized that going mobile is just not the ability to move existing apps to mobile devices. Think about it. The apps that are living and breathing in your organization today are too big and not very easily usable, and it'd be very difficult to use on a mobile device. As a result, new mobile apps are required, and it's across a number of business use cases, transactions, and processes. Never before has the ability to market, sell, and service customers, internal and external, more efficiently, accurately, and economically in mobile devices has been more critical. Enterprise apps are mission critical, more sophisticated. They have to be secure, integrated to existing applications, both for online and offline use in the event that you don't have Wi-Fi or cell connectivity, okay, and many other reasons. And companies are looking to mobilize existing applications or parts of them, develop new gap apps or composite apps, meaning an app that talks to one or more systems on the back end or for specific roles. But that's just one of the major drivers. Let's look at a few others. First, the market for mobile phones continues to grow. It's been estimated that 2.1 billion mobile phones will be sold by year 2019. Enterprise employees, we're already averaging 3 devices. I alone have a laptop, an iPad, and an iPhone, and we're now ready to start expanding into wearable devices. So look forward to those. Gartner Group predicts that enterprise mobile apps will outstrip capacity 5 to 1 over just the next few years. And enterprises will run short of developers by 2017 by a ratio of 5 to 1. So what do you do? Okay. On one hand, organizations need business apps now, and apps are complex to build. The design, integration, synchronization, maintenance of these apps, security, and authentication are very different than existing apps that are already being used in the enterprise. And moreover, we're lack of IT resources that have been trained to fully take advantage of mobility across the applications. Gartner Group recommends 4 different approaches to enterprise mobility. First is to prioritize the apps that you're going to need, the most critical. The second is adopt a bimodal approach. Okay. The third is to use a rapid application development platform. And the fourth is to leverage a mixed sourcing approach, which means internal and external resources. Okay. We're here to talk to you about number 3, the rapid application development platform. It's simply put, if you adhere to the notion that mobility is strategic but complex, and resources are limited, and speed of delivery is of importance, then you'll appreciate the possibility of what Apps Freedom has brought to market with this rapid mobile application development platform. Essentially, what you're looking at inside of this white box is a fully delivered solution, okay, that allows individuals or organizations to assemble and configure mobile applications without any coding. Okay? And it's for both online and offline and web type applications across all devices. So we adhere to this notion of you configure an application and then have it run across all of the other devices. Okay? So with 6 simple steps, the first step being defining of the application and generating of the application that will be shown to you live in just a few minutes. Then you have the ability to do the second step of enhancing an application. That's the look and feel. And then the third step is to integrate that application to other applications that are already being used inside the organization. Okay? And we've taken the work out of this in the complexity, and I've already created a number of adapters for you to connect to, already pre-built and included with the solution. Those are for both cloud applications, and in addition, we have adapters for on-premise applications as well. So what this means is you have the ability to create mobile enterprise type applications very rapidly with no coding, enhance the look and feel so the user experience is exactly what they need, integrate to applications that are already living and breathing within the organization, and then deploy those out to the users as rapidly as possible, all in one solution. Okay? The results are astounding. When you look at it, companies big and small, cross-industry, cross-use case, whether it's back office approvals, sales reporting, timesheet reporting, goods receipts tracking, work orders, or complex applications like Material Master, all of this is possible at speeds that have never been seen before, with fewer resources. So with that, let's take a look at this in action, and we'll go ahead and introduce Koppel Baumberger to show you what this looks like and how it's possible. Koppel?
Thanks, Gino. All right. So what I'm going to do in the next 15 to 20 minutes is I'm basically going to log into one of our demo environments and walk you through the different steps that Gino mentioned. The first step starting with is the process modeler, wherein you can come in, you can define your business process and use that business process definition to generate an app out of it. Now, what we have done in this process modeler tool is we have different components that we have added that you can utilize in order to generate your business process. Just to give an example, if you can define a business process in Visio, you can basically use this tool and define your business process. Now, as I said earlier, what we have done is we have taken it a step further. We have introduced a couple of additional components that you can utilize in order to define your business process. Those additional components are some mobile specific components that you can basically use in the process definition. Those components are like, taking a picture using a, camera of your device, or capturing your geolocation or plotting your location on the map, which makes use of the GPS on your device. In order to define and utilize all these elements, all you need to do is basically select a component and drag and drop it on the canvas area. Now, once you define your business process, what you can do is you can basically select properties for each of the process step, and you can basically customize it. Let's say you have one role or one swim lane, which is for the inventory associate. You can come in here and say, for this particular role, I want to create an app, and I want to call it ABC. Once you do that, you can hit the set button, and similarly you can perform similar actions for each of the process steps over here. And in here you can come in and say, for this particular process step, I want to create a new page in the app that I just defined, and for that particular page I want to add different UI components. You can make all these definitions for each of the process steps that you see here in this process definition. Once you're done mapping all the different process steps to different UI components, all you need to do is hit this generate app button. This generate app button, what it's going to do is it's going to take all the definition that you have given, and it's going to basically convert all the definitions into an app. So it basically generates the app for you. The apps that are generated for all the devices, all the platforms, starting from Android, iOS, Windows, as well as your laptop and desktop-based web browsers. So without writing any code, your apps are basically generated. The required logic that's required to access the device-specific features, such as a camera, the GPS on your device, making access to your mobile-specific applications. It's all built in right when you hit this generate app button. So without coding, your app is basically ready with all the logic that's required. Now, once the app is ready, it still doesn't have the look and feel, the color scheme, the data fields and everything that you need to display on the app. That is when we move to the next tool, which is called as the App Designer. Okay, so App Designer is the tool wherein you can basically you can view some of the different UI components. So here, if you can see, we have standard components, your header, footer, your input box, your button, and so on and so forth. Now, if you want to utilize or design your UI and make use of any of these standard components, all you need to do is drag and drop these standard components on the UI and leave it. Once you drag and drop, all right. Once you drag and drop your components, you can select your component, and on the right side you can see a property sheet. In the property sheet, you can basically customize, the name of the component. So I can give an order number here. I can say, if I want to apply a particular theme, if I want to give an ID, and so on and so forth. I can give the data type, whether it's supposed to be a text field, validations such as your text fields or phone numbers or number pad, and so on and so forth. So I can basically customize all the properties right here, hit the save button, and the UI components are ready. Similarly, we have different components available here that you can utilize. We also have these advanced components that you can utilize in order to design your user interface. So if you want to design an app which plots or captures your GPS location, or plots your current location on a map, or something that lets you capture a signature, you can basically make use of any of these components. You can drag and drop them on the canvas area. So if I drag and drop a map, this map is basically going to be rendered on the device. It's going to capture my current location and plot it on my device. And as always, I can basically customize the properties right here. Other than the advanced components, we also have a built-in set of analytical components. So you can drag and drop any of the analytical components, select it, and come up with quick dashboards, reports, KPIs, and charts. There are a bunch of different charting types that are available that you can select from the list available, and come up with your own dashboards and reports. Now, once you define the UI, you have the option to test the UI right here, in the tool. So if you select the preview app option, it's basically going to open a pop-up window wherein you can actually come in and test your application, how it looks and feels without having to actually log into your device. Let me come back here. Okay. Now, what we have added here is a couple of additional features. So we talked about creating or generating the apps through the process definition, right? So once the app is generated, it's basically generated for all your devices. Now, having said that, this UI that gets generated is applicable or is consistent across all your devices and form factors. Right from your smartphones to your tablets and to your web browsers. Now, it follows a consistent UI pattern, but in order for you to provide or give you the flexibility wherein you want to take advantage of your laptop or desktop based web browsers where you have a better screen space and you want to display more information, you can basically come in here and say I want to generate a separate UI for my web app. So if you hit this button, it basically gives you an option to create a separate UI, and from then on, anytime the same app is executed or rendered on a web browser, it will show more information, whereas on your smartphones or tablets, which has a smaller screen area, it can show minimal information. So this gives you best of both the worlds, wherein you can select what kind of UI you want. Do you want a consistent UI across the different user interfaces and form factors, or you want to keep a different UI? The other tool that we have added is, so as a UI designer, when I'm designing the UI, I can actually hand over a collaborator tool, as we call it, to my power users or business users who are actually going to assist in the development phase with testing the UI flow. So as and when I make the changes, they can actually have the changes verified on their side on the device, and they can provide me with feedback which I can receive in my designer tool right here. So one of the feedback was to add an additional component on the UI. So I basically get that feedback here. I can quickly reply using this reply option and say add it. And this reply basically goes back to the power user, and he gets a confirmation, and he can view that change right on his device and get the testing done. So one of the reasons to add this is it helps in higher adoption across the user base, since they are aware of what the user interface is going to be when the apps are going to be actually deployed or rolled out eventually. Now, we saw how you can basically utilize different components, drag and drop them, and quickly come up with a UI and design your UI and have it ready. In the platform or in the app designer, we also have a couple of options where you can bring in your own style sheets and themes. So if you have any themes that have been already generated for your websites and any other applications in the organization, you can actually make use of any of these themes, import them right here in the platform, and apply those themes across different UI components. So if you see here, it comes up with a list of themes. You can basically select any of the standard themes, or you can import, as I said, your own themes and apply that theme across the different components. Now, having said the fact that you can drag and drop and get it done, the platform does provide you the ability to write your own scripts if you wish to. So a scripting option is always available in case somebody needs to write a quick JavaScript and customize the look and feel or add any validations. Let me go back. All right. Okay, what we saw was we saw the process modeler, wherein you can come in, you can define your business process, use the business process definition, convert it into an app for all your platforms, come into the UI designer or the app designer, customize the look and feel, add different UI components using the standard, advanced, and analytical components. Use the properties sheet to customize those components. Use the collaborator to collaborate with your business users. The third step that we are going to jump into is the backend integration. This is where we connect to the backend system, read the data, write any logic, and get the data to the UI. So this is the third tool that we call as the integration builder. The integration builder is where you can actually write your own services, which let you connect to various backend systems. So if you see here in the integration builder tool, you can make use of different logical components, to design the business logic. You can use different adapters to your various backend system, SAP adapters, you have web service adapters. If you have on-premise database systems, such as Oracle or SQL Server, you can utilize the database adapter, connect to the backend system. If you have a cloud-based system that you want to connect to, such as Salesforce, Workday, or any other cloud-based system, you can use the cloud-based adapters and connect to them. In order to send any form of notification to your end user devices, be it an email notification or push notification, you can make use of these action blocks and send notifications to the end users as well. Now, once you make use of all the different action blocks in here, you can basically connect to various backend systems and pass data as inputs, receive the data from your various backend systems, and process the data. Now, in order to send data to any of your backend systems, it's pretty straight and simple. It's again a straight drag and drop option. All you need to do is drag and drop and hit the add button. When you're performing the mapping, if you want to add any additional expression or additional function, you can basically add any additional functions using the drop down specified here, or you can create your own functions and add them here. Once this is done, your call to the backend system is made. Your backend system can then process the information that's being passed to it. It can then return the information and pass it as output. So once all the calls are made, your data is ready and it can be sent to the UI. Couple of other options that you have available as part of the tool. You have the option to test the service right here. So this test execute option gives you the option where you can provide your input parameters, provide the credentials to your backend system and test the execution of the service so that it goes through your business logic, calls the backend systems, gets the data, and gets it ready so that it can be sent to the UI. One additional advantage that you have using this tool is you can make calls to multiple backend systems, get data from various backend systems, mash it up together, and send it to the UI. So from a user standpoint, he has a single user interface wherein he sees all the data, and the data is coming from one or multiple backend systems. So this tool basically gives you the option to talk to various backend systems, get the information, and send it to the UI. Now, the last step that we have pending is to connect this service to the different UI components. So what I'll do is I'll quickly jump back to the app designer and show you how the service can be connected to the different UI components. So if you see here, you have an option to create a new service, and you can basically select one of the service that we have already created. So if I select the service here, it's basically going to give me a list of all the different input parameters and a list of output parameters. If I go through the drop down, this is basically going to give me what are the different UI components, so that I can map the inputs or the output from the service, which is essentially talking to the backend system, be it the on-premise system or a cloud-based system. It gets all the data, and I'm saying, map it to the different UI components. Once I'm done with the mapping over here, your connectivity between the UI and the backend service is done. The last step is basically to go to the Events tab. And in the Events tab, you basically have to specify an event on which you want to make a call to the backend service, which is going to read information and send it to the UI. So you can select one of the components. Let's say you want to select a button, and on click of a button, you want to call a service. So you can basically select a button, click an event, and say, call a service that we have defined. And once you select that and hit the add button, it's it's going to let you call the service every time on the app when you click a particular button. And that basically, completes the app development piece. You can use the test option right here, as I said earlier, to test the entire app, so that the data flows from the app to the backend service, which in turn talks to your backend system, gets the data, and displays it back, on the UI. Now, once the app development is done, there are a couple of steps using which you can eventually roll it out to your end users. So let's go back to the Freedom Manager and go to the Platform Configurator quickly. So the Platform Configurator is step one, using which you can basically transfer your apps from your dev landscape to QA to production, and so on and so forth. Once your app is published and transported, you eventually move to the app library, where you get a list of all the published apps. Where you can come in, you can basically select the existing app and say, I want to assign it to a set of users. If you have groups, you can assign it to a set of users which belong to a group, or you can select a particular user from this user list and assign it over there. This app library also gives you an option wherein it lets you do, add support for multiple languages. So by default, the app is generated in English language, but you can add support for 60 plus languages right here in the platform. So let's say you select one of the options and hit the translate option. So you can effectively add support for multiple languages right here in the platform. Once the support is added, you can basically go in here, select the edit option, and you can edit the different translations that have been made. So by default, the platform does the translation, but you can come in here and you can add your own translations. If you're not happy with the standard translations that the platform does for you. Once this is done and you save the app, anytime the app is opened on a device which logs in with a different language, and if the language support is added here, all the text and everything that you see on the screen will be shown in the local language of the device, so that the user need not make any adjustments on the device. Now, once the apps are rolled out, the last step is basically from a admin standpoint to monitor how the apps are being utilized on a day-to-day basis by the different user groups. So the platform gives you a report or an app watch area wherein you can come in, you can view the different apps that are being utilized, which app is being utilized by which user or group. There are a couple of reports. You can add your additional reports right here in the platform. You can come in here and see how the apps are being accessed, which app is being used the most, and which app is being used the least. So this was about the platform. Let me quickly jump into a couple of sample screens as to how the apps look on the device. So just quickly, what the end product looks like. So this is a work order app, which gives you a list of orders, and you can basically process the orders. It gives you all the details and everything that comes from a backend system. You can process it. A site survey app, develop using the platform. The same app, you can apply multiple themes and see how the app looks with multiple themes in effect. Another one, and a couple of advanced components like adding a signature and storing the document electronically so that you can use it for further access. That basically concludes the platform demonstration. I'll hand it over back to Gino so that he can take it forward.
Thank you, Kapil. Okay, trust you can see my screen here to summarize what you've seen so far. So we've talked about some of the market drivers that are driving enterprise mobility, and we also talked about a unique approach of the Apps Freedom Rapid Mobile Application Development Platform. Kapil provided a great overview, brief overview of the platform and its capabilities. But essentially, what it comes down to is that if you're looking for a unique approach to be able to design and deploy mobile applications for the enterprise very rapidly in a non-coding type of approach, then you really should take a look at Apps Freedom. You saw how there is a non-coding metaphor for not only the design of the application, but also for the very complex component of integration to existing enterprise apps. We talked about building multiple apps with one click. What we mean by that is if you have a process or transaction that requires multiple individuals in the organization to be part of that process, you design that once, and also you can then deploy out at one time. This saves tremendous time, obviously, in being able to orchestrate these type of use cases. No doubt, fast ROI with fewer resources, but the best way to see that and realize the possibilities is really to take a look at the platform on your own, and we make that available to you. Okay, so I'd like to talk a little bit more, and we'll provide a way for you to engage. Now, as part of the presentation, there were a few questions that came in, and I wanted to take a few minutes to be able to address some of those questions now. There were a few that were specific to integration, and we will ask for your flexibility and understanding. There's one had to do with being able to integrate to multiple data sources, and as Kapil mentioned, yes, the answer is yes. We have a number of clients that essentially what they want to do is create an application user interface that's simple to use on a mobile device, but talks to or integrates to one or two different systems. In this situation, we had a client that, the SAP is a very robust system, but very complex in terms of the user interface, so they wanted to have one application where a user logged in. It automatically logged into SAP to pull up quotes and orders, and then it logged into Microsoft CRM for account information. But it saved the user the step of having to log into two systems, update both, and then send the information. So yes, this is possible, and it's possible via the adapters that are already made available as part of the platform. But there's also another tool. I think the couple had mentioned it. We provide an SDK as part of the platform that is used to also create adapters to applications that may not be in the list. And this helps to speed up and simplify integration as well. So that is part of the tool. Second question came up that had to do with can we integrate with stored procedures with parameters. There's a couple different approaches to this. And so if you could be so kind, email us your specific situation, and we'd like to take a look at that, and perhaps we can present one or two solutions to you. There is in the next version of the application functionality that is going to make this a non-scripting event. So, but let's take a look at your own individual situation and explore that in detail. A third question that just came up had to do with availability and pricing. So let me address the question this way. The platform is available in a couple different flavors, and it's really dependent upon your own unique use case. But essentially, we make the platform available at a very nominal subscription rate. It's subscription-based, and it's available. The tool then becomes available to unlimited number of developers that are in your organization. So essentially, whether you have one developer or 10, the tool becomes available, and they can design and build as many applications as required by the company. Only at the time that you deploy the application is there a fee on the licensing side for end user. Okay, so depending upon your situation, we'd be happy to address the specifics and provide those numbers to you. But I think you'll find in our initial discussion, should we be given the opportunity, it's very economical and very competitive to any other approach that's on the market today. Okay, and then finally, there was a question about how much developer support is needed to develop apps. Well, I think it's best answered this way. So, I think that what's unique about the Apps Freedom platform is that it can be leveraged by both non-technical and technical resources. The advantages of that is that bridging these resources together will and as a best practice has accelerated the design and deployment of applications, meaning the business folks that are closest to processes that need to be automated can go in and use the tool. And essentially, if you can familiar with using a Visio type diagramming tool, then you can design and generate an app. And then you can team with a technical member that can handle the integration piece for you. But you also saw that was a non-coding and scripting exercise as well. So we've eliminated the coding for integration. It's all done by visual design. So we really believe it's a combination of those resources. There is training that we can provide. And or if needed, we can assist you by providing any professional services to help you get up and running, and then you take over the maintenance and management of the application moving forward. So please contact us about that if you have interest in learning more about training options. Okay. Finally, I'd like to, in closing, just thank you for your time. I know that we covered a lot of ground very rapidly in 45 minutes, and we'd like to invite you to take advantage of a couple tools that are available. And first is that there are a number of papers that are available on mobility for the enterprise, and it's not only from partners like Gartner and others, but there's quite an amount of information that's available. So that's number one. Number two is if you go to the appsfreedom.com website, you'll see that there's a number of ebooks and white papers and blogs that are available to you. And depending upon your personal business situation, there is a tool that we make available in a community version. Now, it may not do everything that you're looking for, and it's by design. So you can take a look at that and see if that the capabilities there is what you would like to test, and if not, let us know. There are other versions available and features that are available that we can open up to you on an as-needed basis. And you can email us at info@appsfreedom.com or call us at 855, this is toll-free, 277-7373, here stateside. Okay? Thank you again for joining. We appreciate the opportunity to have this discussion for you and with you, and we look forward to continuing the dialogue. We'll talk to you again soon.